Hey there, it is Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
Dan, look who it is. They're
Mhm.
back. Chris and Christy. Sounds like a morning show, doesn't it?
Chris and Christy in the morning.
It's Chris Woodruff and
That's
Christy
right.
Richards, who we've known for years. And we were talking before we went live. We were at the old office for Lighthouse Family Retreat at least 10 years ago.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
we just love the work that you guys have been doing for so long, helping so many families. It is the Lighthouse Family Retreat, strengthening families who are living through cancer. And so many things going on. Last time is also that you guys were in the studio, and that was over 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID.
And
Pre-COVID.
yeah. So we want to do a little catch up. Christy is the retreat operations manager. Of course, Chris is the executive director and CEO. Still working on that beard for the Santa stand-in.
I'm trying to catch up to you.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
You're
Yeah,
at
yeah.
about elf status right now.
I've got a lot of salt and pepper in here. I got a lot of salt and pepper in here, Rick. I'm going to catch up to you.
Yeah. Tell it to the judge. Tell it to the judge. Hey, let's catch up with you guys first. Chris, I know there's summer retreats, and we talked a little bit about some fall retreats that are going on. Let's start there. We do want to talk about the podcast, which is amazing. You got a 30-day devotional, which you've put out, I think, since the last time we've talked to you.
Yep.
And you've got the Gold Party coming up in September. We'll start with Chris, so let's catch up. What's going on?
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of amazing and awesome things that we've got coming up. So we just wrapped summer with all of our summer retreats. We had 15 retreats over the summer. They were on the Georgia coast, down in Tybee Island, or St. Simons. Sorry, not Tybee Island, but St. Simons. And then we also had the Florida coast, so down over Destin, Sandestin. And then we also had North Carolina. So 15 retreats and served over 180 families this summer.
Wow.
All had a child that's somewhere in the treatment phase of cancer, and over I think 1,800 volunteers that came down to serve with us over the summer, which is pretty amazing.
Wow.
So that happened, and then we've got 2 more coming up this fall. What some counties here in Atlanta have fall break. So that's the week that it's during. So like this, the last week, I think, of September, we've got 2 retreats left. I think we need volunteers still for one of those. And so you can get info on the Lighthouse Family Retreat webpage for that. If you're interested in coming down to serve as a family, we have lots of families that come serve with kids as young as 4 years old and as old as, you can be as old as Santa Claus. You mentioned
as old as Rick.
Wow, that's right, as old as Rick to come down and serve. So a lot of opportunities, and definitely have a need still. But that's the last week of September. We've got 2 of those retreats, and then you mentioned the Gold Party. Yeah, that's fantastic. We on September 17th is a Saturday night. So we call it a Gold Party because September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. So there's this. They have a gold ribbon that symbolizes it, and there's a lot of things that a lot of organizations do to try to raise awareness and raise funds for families that are going through childhood cancer in September. And a lot of it is built around awareness because there's not a lot of folks that understand and know what actually goes into childhood cancer. But we've got a fundraiser and an awareness party in September on the 17th in downtown Alpharetta. There's this really cool place. I don't know if you guys have ever been to this place. It's called the Roaring Social. It's like this speakeasy kind of thing. It's down underneath the hotel. You got to go downstairs. You got to have a password to get in. That's the whole deal.
Oh, wow.
And so we're going to have a fun night. There'll be a band. There'll be some dancing. We'll have a live auction, a silent auction. And it's just really fun social night to hang out. And then we'll also have a family there. We'll tell a little bit about Lighthouse and hope to raise some awareness and some funds for childhood cancer.
Wow. That's fancy if you have to have a password to get in there.
I know, right? I know. It's all disguised as like this, like a tailor. You don't even know what you're going into. And they make it really fun. It's a pretty neat little deal.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So Christy, before COVID, I'm sure you guys had to be super careful health-wise because these kids are sick and you don't want to get them sicker. So I'm sure COVID just added on to that. How did that change the way you guys do retreats?
Well, in 2020, we did some other projects. We just didn't feel like it was a safe option. And we started some great things and got some things off the ground that we've been dreaming about, which we'll talk about our podcast and stuff. But The last 2 years we've been able to do retreats. We are obviously really, really careful. We have a medical lead on every retreat that we do. Like you said, we kind of already were careful because we're really conscious of the kids. Most of them are on treatment. So it's simple things just like remembering to wash our hands and kind of spreading out gatherings. We are also a very outside group. Like we got a tent, like that didn't change. We're outside most of the time, even when it's hot. So that kind of worked in our favor, that we're outside having a great time under the tent, kind of spread out. But we have just worked really hard. We have some medical contacts that we check in with all the time and just make sure we're doing the best thing that we can to keep everybody safe.
So good. Lighthouse Family Retreat. Christy Richards with us and Chris Woodruff. We'll talk about the podcast in a second. Chris did mention that possibly needing volunteers. So if anyone's up for that, you can go to the website and find out more, lighthousefamilyretreat.org. I think Dan and I have talked to several folks that have been a part, some of them even year after year, because you do have repeat folks that really believe in what you guys have done. Some of them even have had children themselves as a part of the of the family retreat. So check that out. And if you can help them during the fall there, again, the website right there in front of you at lighthousefamilyretreat.org. All right, let's pick up on the podcast. Chris, whose idea was this? Now, I think this is genius. Are you going to take credit for this podcast?
No, not my idea. I think it's probably Christy's idea. But the name is great, isn't it? Like you said, it's like a morning show. You're so right, Chris and Christy. It's got a little ring to it.
It does. Chris and Christy in the morning, everybody.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. See, now now you need an announcer to announce it, and there you go. Dan's just done it for you.
You need Kevin and Taylor when you have Chris and Christy in the morning.
That's right. That's right. Dan's a professional. He's done this before. It was a cumulative idea of a bunch of people. We just knew we wanted especially in the middle of COVID, we couldn't do what we normally do. And so we were trying to think, what are some ways that we can get out and still strengthen and serve families, and do it from where we are and do it remote. And the podcast was an idea that just kind of came out of a bunch of discussions of how do we do that. And we had a donor donate all the gear for us. And so we just decided to start getting together and recording stories. And that's how it started. And it was really just an opportunity. So families didn't feel like they already feel like through childhood cancer, they're on an island. When through COVID, it was even more of an island. And so it was trying to really help these families feel like they were, not the only ones going through it, to get some encouragement, maybe to hear from some specialists in it. We try to meet with, different medical professionals, child life specialists, folks in the hospital, nurses, doctors, pediatric oncologists, you name it, dietitians, all the different things. Just to give them some different insights throughout their journey to help them think about things maybe they haven't thought of, new trials even that we talk with doctors about that are going on, as well as just getting to hear from another family that's going through a similar situation that they can learn how they can better, cope through that situation and get through that situation. And we're really fortunate. Christy's, she's got the story, her family has been through this. And so she's got a direct line of just experience to be able to really connect with these families. I joke, but it really is true that I'm more of the sidekick. Christy really is, the main deal here because she's lived it. She's been through it, and she really can connect and relate to these families that are on the other side of this.
Now, Christy, are you dropping this, once a month, once a week? What's
once a week? It comes out on Tuesdays. And I think we just started season 5. Is that right, Chris? Season 5?
Yeah, 4 or 5. It's crazy to think how many.
I think it's 5. It's just, there's so much power in someone's story. And I think especially a hard story. And I love that we get to tell it from every aspect. Like, we interview parents, obviously, but we've interviewed survivors that are now young adults. We've interviewed siblings that walked alongside their family. And so I love that we get to kind of show all the different aspects. And I think it helps honor the family that went through it because they get a chance to talk about it. And it also is just immeasurably helpful to hear someone else say, this was really hard and it's okay to say that out loud.
And how many boxes of Kleenex do you go through each podcast?
There have been a few that,
There's been a couple of those for sure.
Yeah.
And no doubt you've heard from family members or even those that outside of the whole Lighthouse Family Retreat that's given a spark of hope. I mean, I can imagine you're talking about trials, you're talking about new things going on, what, families experience, family members, the siblings and all that. That's got to bring hope, right?
Yeah. And I think we also get to talk to people that have had some distance, like my family and other families and adult survivors, where a family can listen and be like, oh my gosh, there's a 22-year-old that survived it and they're doing okay. Or this family's 4 years out and they're doing okay. And they have tips and advice and how they got to an okay place. And so there's a lot of hope in that as well.
All right, lighthousefamilyretreat.org is the website, not only to find out information about the different retreats, but also about the podcast, about the 30-day devotional that you guys have. You have a Monday motivation that you put out. You have a Spotify playlist. I mean, what do you guys not have on the website is the question, I guess.
Right. We got all kinds of stuff on there. All kinds of opportunities. Definitely check it out.
Awesome.
Yeah, and don't forget about the Goal Party coming up at September the 17th, and volunteer to help out during the retreats as well. LighthouseFamilyRetreat.org. Christy, Chris, we appreciate you guys, and would love to catch up with you in a few months.
Would love it. We love getting together with you guys. Thank you.
Someday they'll have us on their morning show, Rick.
Hey, there you go. That's beautiful right there.
That's right. It's coming. It's coming.
There you go. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
This is Faith Talk Live.